Hello, hello, my customer success friends. Welcome back to CSM Practice, your go to podcast for cutting churn, increasing upsell, revenues, understanding how to perform your customer success strategy in a manner that's more scalable, but also produces a better result from your financial metrics to how proactive your customer success managers are and how to cater with a better experience for a larger customer base. So today I'm thrilled to welcome Tom Shelly. She's the Vice President of Marketing at EverAfter. Specifically, I wanted Tom to come here to kind of share how her clients and EverAfter themselves are leveraging AI to create a better customer experience. We all know customer success formula is the juxtaposition between customer outcomes and customer experience. So today we're going to double down sort of on both, but understand how we're going to leverage AI for that. Tom, thank you so much for bringing this perspective to myself and to the audience today. Why don't we start by sharing a little bit about you, Tom? Why are you so passionate about customer success? You're in marketing.
So actually, my background is obviously in marketing, but it's areas in marketing that tie into the customer experience. So I actually worked at companies and took the function of customer marketing and product marketing. So I always worked with the product team as well as the customer success team, sitting right in the middle. Anything that relates to the communication with customers, getting them to adopt the product is something that is close to my heart, specifically at B2B SaaS companies where I was able to do things from in product journey that you would maybe think it's like the product team doing or the customer success team. It was often people from product marketing like me doing. Even implementing tools like Gainsight in the past, it was the product marketing function doing, which might sound weird, but in some companies that would actually make sense in aspects that relate to, again, getting the customer to be educated about the product. So again, it's just something that I'm extremely passionate about. And I actually got into EverAfter because the last company that I worked at, I had this idea to build something that is similar to what we do. And all of a sudden I heard there was a company that was building that. And I just told myself, I have to come work for that company. And I've been here for the last 4 years and it's been an amazing ride.
I want to kind of give context to those that are listening because it sounds like even though the company has a CSM team and you work with sometimes larger B2B companies, you still see a benefit in leveraging one-to-many strategies of communication with those larger accounts. So maybe you can kind of shed some light. How does that work at EverAfter? Is this a function that you have it EverAfter? Is this applicable to higher touch models?
The strategies that I'm going to share today could actually be applicable for one-to-many, but could be cool when you're actually doing one-to-one type of communication. It depends on the specific scenario that you're in. It could be that you have a specific milestone that you want to share with a customer. So it's theirs. It's one specific account that you figured out. You can celebrate something with them that you know that they've wanted for a long time. And then there's a specific AI hack that you can use in order to celebrate that moment with them. But it could also be something that relates to multiple clients from a specific vertical. And then I'm going to show you maybe a hack that relates to educating all your customer in a specific segment about a specific knowledge that they're missing maybe. And you can create that content as their CSM very easily through AI. It's going to depend on the scenario that we're going to talk about, but I truly believe that a combination of one-to-many and in specific scenarios one-to-one is the perfect combo when communicating with clients. And that's regardless if they're low-touch accounts or managed accounts. Even a low-touch client, if you have the right system in place, you can recognize that little moment that you can come in and create a personalized moment of delight for them.
What inspired you to collect all these ideas and put it all together for us?
First of all, I'm a big AI fan, regardless of customer success for a moment, even things that relate to my role in marketing. I continuously try and find AI hacks to make my work more streamlined, more creative. That along with the fact that I work very closely with our customer success team, trying to help them come up with these moments of wow for our own customers, is the combo that led me to want to share the knowledge and some of just random ideas that I have that I would want others to implement. That's what brought me to this content that I'm going to share with you.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you've seen your clients, after leveraging AI, were able to solve?
The first thing that is very relevant is it's not necessarily a challenge, but a desire to make the relationship with clients more impactful. So the concept of celebrating milestones with customers is something that we continuously try and help our own customers be better at. Our own customers obviously use our own customer interface in order to communicate with their clients. But within this interface, they can do lots of things. They can do maybe a task list to share different action items that the customer needs to do. But then there comes a moment when the customer did very well, and you look at metrics and you see that you can give them shout out for everything that they're doing. How do you do that? Do you just send an email? Do you put out just a message, write them in the chat tool that you have? All these things are probably going to be part of this massive clutter of everything that they're getting. So you want to stand out with this recognition, and you want to make them feel as if you actually care. They're not just another customer that's piling up. They're meaningful for you, and you were part of that milestone that they just reached. That's how I came up with this little hack. And important to mention that the hacks that I'm talking about are little things. They're like little moments of delight that for some might seem not that impressive, but I can tell you from seeing people use these things that those little things are going to make very big impact. So we can just dive into this first example. When I'm talking about a customer hitting a major milestone, what we're talking about is, again, that customer that was grinding, was building and trying to optimize performance, and all of a sudden they hit this important milestone of theirs.
I'm just super curious. Can you share like the list or like one item from that list? Maybe something that you guys have tried out that worked out well for you?
One of the things that I'm most excited about is being able to share customer milestones with customers of ours that reached a certain achievement that we've been working with them for a long time on. I was working with the team to try and come up with a creative way to do so. We're talking about creative ways to use AI. So one of the things that are relatively easy to do is to use AI tools like Canva, for example, that allow you to basically create images that include a lot of content and visual that represent a specific thing. Let's look at a specific example. One of our customers is SalesLoft. They have certain milestones that they were able to accomplish with us. And so I was thinking about creating this visual when inside the tool, and you can say, I have this client, her name is Julia. She was able to reach 30% time to value. I want to celebrate it with her. Let's show some confetti. And so you just hit generate, and you're basically able to create something that reflects this experience. You're going to see like this girl with a shout out and with the confetti in her name and maybe the metric. And the idea is that you're then sharing it with your customer. It could be inside a customer interface, or it could be over email. But all of a sudden, you're not just sending over email, hey, good for you, I saw that you did this and that. You created something that reflects, A, the fact that you saw it maybe before they did, and second, that you cared enough to create something that reflects that excitement. So that's the first idea.
Super cool, super simple, higher touch, very personalized touch as well. So customers achieves a milestone. You can use Canva AI to create a custom made illustration with the specific point. You give the right prompt and you get a specialized, like customized basically illustration that they create. And then you send it off to her via email or direct message. Very cool, very simple.
By the way, if you have like a collection of different milestones all of a sudden, you can even use certain tools I used in the past, pick to chart, and you can actually create a whole sort of like a infographic report. So you can say the same thing, but maybe they reached a 30% time to value as well as 15% upsell. You just put it in. It creates a whole report with information that explains maybe what does that mean that they were able to do upsells. Some things they're probably going to make up, but then you can go in, change the content to have it make sense, change the colors to have it fit the branding, and all of a sudden you're sharing something that looks extremely professional with a client. And again, reflects the fact that they didn't just reach that accomplishment on their own. You did it together and you noticed that it happened for them. And so again, it creates that emotional connection that creates an impact in the long run.
What other things have you noticed that you've done at EverAfter, or you've seen other creative CS leaders from your competition do that you'd like to share with us?
Another thing that I think is very relevant that we come across often is the need to educate customers. So maybe you have someone on the other side that is very knowledgeable about what they do, but the software that they purchased, they're missing some context to understand how to use it best. Maybe they're missing some information about the industry, but you don't just want to send over email random links, or maybe it's just going to take you a long time to find the relevant information. So using AI tools, even like ChatGPT, you can literally create a prompt that says, I have a customer. She works in this and that industry. I want to create an educational list of the most trending information about this specific topic. Let's create it for her. And all of a sudden, you're becoming the expert. You're sharing something that is not just 100 links. It's not something from 2020. It's something very relevant that they need maybe right now because you know that they came across a specific hurdle with that specific concept. That's something that we've seen creates a good impact because the person that either received it over email or for us inside the customer interface thanks you for that information. And again, it's only if you create it bite-sized, not thousands of links, just like 5 articles that were generated in the last 6 months, maybe. So the content actually makes sense and is going to help them with that specific problem they have right now.
Would you recommend incorporating it inside something that they do in the app? Like, how did you leverage that you've seen had an impact where a customer actually thanked you for it?
For us, because our customers are using our own customer interface, we're able to put it inside the interface and surface that only if they weren't able to accomplish a specific task, maybe, or if they reached a specific milestone and now it's time to learn the second phase. And again, I'm not talking about learning about the product. I'm talking about industry expertise that is going to make them better at what they do. So it's like that additional layer of you as a CSM providing expertise to your clients. So it could be inside an interface, but it could also happen over email. It could happen if you're using a specific product tour, put it in if you have access to it. Anywhere that you're communicating with customers, find that specific location and share with them that bite-sized educational piece.
I like that. You know why? Because we always talk about how we need to plant the seeds for additional use cases with clients. And sometimes it feels super clunky for a CSM to bring that topic up in a conversation. It just feels forced to them. But if they know, let's say I'm implementing a CRM system and I'm done with configuring the contacts and the accounts, the next thing I'm going to do is probably tackle opportunities. And then after that, I should tackle the sales handoff and integrate that into my CRM if possible. And so I feel like if you know the journey, can organize all the use cases almost like from easy to more complex, advanced things that you'd like them to do later. As soon as they are done with something, this is the list of 3 articles or a link to a webinar or like a YouTube video about the topic, and just say, hey, I know you've done this. Have you considered that? Hey, I saw something interesting. And it's very subtle, but it starts invoking being creative.
Before AI, it took a very long time for the CSM because it was very manual. You needed to go inside Google and search for specific articles. And I remember myself as customer marketing, I got asked from CSMs, do you have articles about this? And it's endless, the amount of things that they need. And all of a sudden, they can go on their own, say stuff that are very specific in ChatGPT of like, I need this vertical, this size of company, this specific challenge, find articles in the last 3 months. All of a sudden, you're able to be that expert on your own, and it took you 3 minutes. It's amazing.
And I'll tell you something else. There's some CSMs or even customer success executives here that are listening and say they're going to tell themselves, well, can the client curate this list on their own? Is there even value in that? What did customers tell you? Why do you think customers see value in that? Why should we bother do that?
I think it's a valid question, but the answer is think about yourself. You know, there are so many things you want to learn in your own job because the world evolves. How many times do you take the time to sit and tell yourself, okay, I'm going to generate a list for myself for things that I don't know and I need to know? You just don't do that because you're so busy. And all of a sudden, this CSM in a product that you purchased did this for you, and it was spot on. So it just works.
It's the right content at the right time.
Content, context. Exactly.
Yeah, content and context. And I think that this is leaning into activity-based marketing theory, like the whole methodology. We can bring that into customer success. And anything else on your list?
I think we can go to talk about things that are even lighter as far as their relationship with clients. Sometimes you just want to make them laugh. You just want to make them be happy, maybe, because that is, again, something that creates a bond and a relationship that goes beyond the professional aspect. So there are different AI tools that you can actually create funny memes and images and visuals that you can then share with clients that are very specific to whatever you want to share. So, as an example, say it's like the holiday season, you can go inside tools. For example, there's a tool called 𝘕𝘹𝘦𝘬𝘪𝘕 that allows you to add image of yourself and then pick an avatar that is related to the specific season or superhero or whatever that is. It's extremely funny images that come out of this. And you can then make the image even move with animation and add text. And all of a sudden, you're sharing something very personal. It could be the visual of the client or it could be of yourself, but you're sharing that with them. You're showing them that you thought about them. You can say, if it's Christmas, Merry Christmas, or again, if it relates to an accomplishment, you can upload an image of them and choose a superhero image and share it with them and say, you're a superhero for being able to reach that milestone. And all of a sudden, that's something very personal. That's an example. Yeah.
So you're sticking your own AI
Yeah.
generated image, not
Mm-hmm.
the client's, obviously.
Yeah, of course. But sometimes you can. If you already have a relationship with a client that you've been working together for years, obviously don't pick something that's too sexual, but you can go with a fun, specific avatar. I had our sales team, for example, create superheroes visuals because you can choose any type of superhero with these and send it to their clients, to their prospects, even because that could even be part of the sales process, and say something funny about, we're going to do this together. We're going to reach this customer success achievement kind of thing. And it just works because the other person is just laughing and it creates a lighter relationship maybe inside all this specific expertise conversations.
Yeah, it gives a sense of like a more personal touch. I like it a lot. This is totally up my alley. For years, I would create a Bitmoji of myself flying with a rocket. It's just
It's
like
it, but like super sharp.
yeah, because now you can do it with literally your image, but back when it's kind of like in dinosaur times, you had to do a Bitmoji.
But you're gonna love this tool. Try it out. It's called 𝘕𝘹𝑥_Editor. You're gonna fall in love with it.
A few months ago, I posted a blog about time to wow. These are like a lot of moments of delight. Some of them are milestone celebration moments, but I think there's an importance of like how often should you be doing? When is it too much? From the moment that the customer joins, how many of these delight moments should we consider placing in? And should we even like engineer that? Meaning, should we define a wow moment journey for our customers?
100%. I think that's the ideal scenario. If that's possible, to have the customer success team meet up and define exactly inside the customer journey, maybe the first year of their experience initially, how many moments of wow they want to create, and which one of these moments of delight can they actually automate, and which ones should be ones that are extremely personalized. Because some of the ideas could be specific to a vertical. You don't need to go one by one to each and every one of your clients, but some, the ones that are more visual based, you do want to invest the time and create different ones for different clients. come up with a plan that works for you and makes sense as far as the amount of accounts that you have, if you're low touch, if you're high touch, and build it out in a way that makes sense and you'll be able to execute on. You'll see that once you execute that first year, the satisfaction rates are bound to go up. CSATs, NPS, it's something that reflects in the relationship and makes a difference. So I highly recommend you to do so.
Elevates it from a 5-star experience to a 6-star experience, if you will. And it creates loyalty to the brand. And I talk about it a lot in the time, like how you should be measuring time to wow. Specifically in the blog that I wrote on LinkedIn, it was about the onboarding experience. Sometimes we wait too long or we double down on first value delivered. There's so many mistakes that we make. Personally, I feel like we should hit at least 3 wow moments, with the first one as soon as possible, as soon as the customer signs with us. What's your take on specifically onboarding and time to wow? What have you seen?
I now remember that the first ebook that I created was on secrets to customer onboarding. And I remember interviewing the VP of customer success at Gong, and he mentioned that part of their formula in the onboarding phase is a designated point of creating this moment of wow inside the customer's experience. It's literally how they do it, and they make sure that each and every customer that's onboarded has that specific moment of wow. This was like 5 years ago, so obviously it works because they're doing well. And I definitely agree that the onboarding phase, that moment that you create, that first impression, is the time that is most valuable with creating that special connection with your clients and that moment that sticks out. And there are a billion ways that you can create that, with AI, without AI, but having that in mind, and obviously using AI is just streamlined better. You're able to do it for more clients in a faster way. So why not do it that way?
Do you have any hacks for onboarding and how to leverage AI?
The onboarding point that I have that I think could be relevant is using ChatGPT. I think that a lot of people don't know how to do this prompt engineering in a way that would make a difference. Let's imagine that you have a portfolio of 100 clients, and they're coming from different types of segments, from different types of goals that they have in place. But you want to be able to create an onboarding experience that speaks to specific types of segments, verticals, demographics, whatever that is. Instead of using workflow of emails that maybe marketing created for you, you're actually able to take the existing workflow, put that into ChatGPT, but also then provide it with information about your different characteristics of your clients. And then it's going to take the content that you have, redefine the different segments in light of the content that you shared, and create that email series for you. That could be if it's an email series, or maybe it's product tours that you currently have for onboarding. Put that content inside. ChatGPT is that brain that could basically take information but reshape it in a way that speaks to your different segments, because doing it on your own manually takes a very, very long time, coming up with the different segmentations, and then how do I customize the content to fit the different segments. It could take days, if not weeks. And that's why most companies don't do it. They go with something that's pretty generic as far as the flow, but then it misses. Some customers are just not going to feel as if it's related to what they do or what they're trying to accomplish. And all of a sudden, you can take it to a whole new level using the relevant prompt engineering.
You're showing an example of how the prompt should look like, what kind of like a specific input might look like, and then it literally gives you the tailored theme, the subject lines, the email outline. And I think then you can ask it to say, okay, how can I delight the customer?
You can then say, okay, make email 1 and 2 funny, make email 3 and 4 more professional, give this, that tone. It's endless as far as the customization that you can take it to. As long as you feed it with the relevant information and you explain about who you are, what the company does in a way that the tool understands, it's going to create content that is going to elevate your strategy.
Yeah, I could totally see the welcome email with the CSM creating something cool like these.
So this is an example of, say you created the onboarding emails, but now you want to spice it up, and you maybe want to do it with a visual of yourself, but it's like a little GIF. you can use the same tools, maybe the LiteX editor. Maybe you want to share with them what they're going to feel when they see this specific feature. So it's basically, you can put your own picture, but then you can do like a wow. And you can literally say, which reaction do you want to give your face?
And you used which tool for this?
LiteX editor, the same one that I created the Christmas visuals. You upload your picture and you say, okay, now I want a scary expression. It's just bringing life into the communication with clients, and it sticks out. They're going to remember these emails. They're going to want to read the next one.
Tell me about the feature release, because you have a product marketing background. How do most companies do it, and how do you see them elevate that process when they leverage AI?
Feature releases is always a challenge because most companies release lots of stuff and then you feel like you already shared lots of information with clients. They won't remember this release. They won't even notice it because you just shared an email last week and you just shared another feature inside the product. It always happens. And then you're like, okay, but this release is actually a very important one. How do I make sure they notice it? It's a challenge. And so oftentimes marketing would create some stuff, but then CSMs know better what their customers want. And oftentimes they know a specific client wanted this feature, but maybe this feature is not actually the one that the marketing did like a full-blown rollout for. So I want to give CSMs the power to create something for a specific client, maybe a group of clients. So what I'm recommending is to use a specific tool called Screen Studio, but there are lots of tools that do the same thing. And it's actually less about the AI concept, but more about the ability to create a video for clients that is basically a tutorial. But instead of just doing what most people would do, which is basically recording the screen, this takes the recording and adds the zoom in that looks very professional, but automatically. So you just upload the video and all of a sudden it creates it and you can click and see.
Yeah, so here she goes. You're actually going through the entire thing. You're clicking, it opens up, it makes everything else blurred. You can focus,
Exactly.
show it, demonstrate it, and they see you. So it's personalized and it creates the captions probably automatically. So it's a no brainer to just create a video tutorial really
You
quickly.
don't need to say, oh, we need a video that the marketing team would create because I don't know how to create videos. No, you can create it on your own and it's going to look very professional. And if you don't like your own voice, you can even have them switch to a voiceover by someone that sounds more professional, because there are lots of AI tools that do that. Upload the transcript of what you said, and all of a sudden it can even sound as if you're like someone who's been doing tutorials for their entire life. So there's no reason for CSMs not to create these things now.
Absolutely. You can actually use ChatGPT probably to script the step by step, and then you can use captions, creates your own AI avatar.
Yeah, the avatar, like a little person who's explaining it.
I don't know if Screen Studio allows it, but some solutions out there will allow you to create your own AI twin. So when you want to record something like that, if you want to avoid having too many takes and edit out all the ums like I have to deal with every time because I'm just human, you can feed it the script and it'll use your AI twin that you trained the AI app to do, and it'll probably create this for you. But I don't know if there's anything like that, that I don't think it's going to take more than a year or two before we see a bunch of solutions out there allowing you to do so. Yeah.
100%.
We know like a lot of CSMs struggle with getting clients into meetings. Can we leverage some delight with or without AI to just get them excited about a call with us?
This is less about getting them excited about the call and more about generating the slides for the call that are often very challenging because you need to start from scratch and you don't want it to be too generic because you have a weekly meeting sync. How much can you say that's new? And now you can actually use, if you're an EverAfter customer, there's the ability to generate meeting slides from the customer hub, which makes it very easy with the content of the customer. But if you're not, you can use a tool called Slides GPT. And it's basically a tool that allows you to put in an input and say, for example, I'm a customer success manager at EverAfter. I need to create a presentation for a sync meeting that I have with a client. Maybe again, it's Salesloft as an example. and we want to discuss success plan that we have. So far, they reached ROI. You hit generate, and all of a sudden it's creating the actual slides that you're able to use. You can download that and upload to Google Slides or upload to PowerPoint and whatever you're using, but it's putting in all the background information, giving you ideas for different things that you can say during that meeting based off logic, of course. But if you put more information inside the prompt, it's going to make it even more specific to what you wanted to share with that client. And it's even adding visuals that you can use in the presentation and icons. So it's making you look way more professional. It's saving you time, and it's making it more personalized for that specific client.
Some productivity tools, lots of wow and customer experience advice. So thank you so much for sharing all of that. I think we all got a lot of ideas. Thank you for curating that for us. Then you bringing in sort of like the marketing zhuzh of it is such a unique perspective. It's so refreshing. Like I said, we almost always have customer success executives. So having somebody from marketing coming in with a fresh perspective on how can you engage customers and then leveraging AI is so, so cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything you'd like to share? Anything cool that you're doing in the next few months that you'd like to share with our audience that they should be aware of? I know you have the top 25 CS creative leaders. You just had that. You have that every end of the year and you announce it on a January of the 1st of every year. So thank you for doing that. That's a lot of work. Any other initiatives for the year?
Well, the most exciting thing that we have coming up, speaking about AI, is the fact that we're releasing kind of a 2.0 of our own product, which is basically making EverAfter AI truly EverAfter AI, because our product is going to basically allow customer success team to generate a customer interface automatically through our AI tool. So that's something that is going to turn customer programs from success plan to QBR to onboarding to be created within minutes using this functionality. So I'm personally very excited about that.
So basically, they enter a prompt, and then before you know it, you have a customer portal with all the sections that you need, and it looks as cute as your brand is.
With relevant data. Yeah.
With relevant data. Okay, anybody's curious, thinks that they need a customer portal, don't have a lot of bandwidth to build it. If you want to see a demo, you're welcome to check out EverAfter. That's another value that we bring, showcasing all the cool solutions customer success managers can have. I personally use it for my own clients and I definitely recommend it. So I hope a lot of people got a lot out of it because of a ton of tactical advice and inspirational thinking. If you end up using any of the recommendations, put it in the comments below. What did you do? What was fun? What was inspirational? What are you going to do? And with that, it's a wrap. I'll see you at the next video.